Ziggy, first, just talk about the deal today for Jaleel Anibaba, what he could bring to this team.
Yeah, it's just a situation that, for our defense, we wanted to change it a little bit from last year. We started that process with the addition of Chad Marshall. Anibaba is a player that I've always liked, ever since he came out of college. He's a younger defender, he's got good athleticism. We felt a mix in the back of an older guy and a younger guy would help us as well. And it was just, we've stayed pretty constant with our defense. Patrick's been with us for a lot of years, and John has as well, and they've been great players for us. And Jeff Park was there, and then he needed to get traded away last year to Philly, because he wanted to go back home. And so we just felt it was time for a little bit of a fresh air back there, and that's what we wanted to do.
When you do lose players that have been on this team for so long, is that difficult for some of those players?
I always promised myself that if that became easy, I would quit coaching. That if I didn't feel that, and John's one of my favorite guys. And Patrick is a guy I've known since he was 3 years old, probably. Because I had his brother play for me at UCLA as well. And it's a situation where those guys, you build a bond to those because they're your players. You go through a lot of good things, positives and minuses, but at the end, as a coach, you've got to make the decision that you feel is best for the club, and sometimes also best for the player. For Patrick, I think it's a change of scenery for him. So he wasn't always getting playing time. For John, he's been with our club now for 5 years. Maybe it revitalizes people too to get a change, just like for Chad Marshall coming to our place was a change after having spent so many years on Columbus. But is it easy? It is never easy.
When you move from 13 to 8, do you do that with a particular player in mind, or is it just the option to maybe have more players available at that point?
Well, it's the option of having more players available as you go to 8, and then the other thing you have, the draft is a very fluid situation and dynamic, so it's easier to trade up from 8 than it is to trade up from 13. So then there's possibilities within the draft that if somebody that we like ends up, dropping a spot or two, and there's some rumors out there already about some trades which are going to change how we thought the draft order would go a little bit. So maybe allows us to get, one of the guys that we really cover.
You've been watching these players play in college, some of them for 4 or 5 years, and you get a chance to see them this weekend for 3 games. What's your impression of this year's draft class and the players that are going to be coming out?
Everybody says the same thing every year, that it's not as good as last year, it's not as strong as last year, and I just think that's sort of a standard answer that everyone wants to do. I will say I don't know if you have a Nagby in this group, or you have a player of that outstanding potential, or Steve Zakuani when he came out. I don't know if you have that guy. I think you've got a lot of depth at center back. I think there's some center backs that once you get even beyond the top 3 or 4, there's some guys who could be very good players in the league, and so that goes a little bit deeper. But overall, it's a typical draft for me, and sometimes in the draft, once you get beyond 6 or 7 or 8, it really from 9 through 35, there's sometimes this guy makes it and this guy doesn't. You're not quite sure.
With all the homegrown player signings, I would imagine that takes some of the depth out of a draft. But you guys have 2 guys coming in as well, Sean Okoli and Eric Kovar. Talk about what they're going to bring, and just kind of the option of having those 2 guys in those 2 positions of need.
Yeah, sure. The homegrowns definitely make a big change. You look at Chicago signed Harrison Shipp, who would have probably been, a top 5 guy this year. We're excited because Sean Okoli has played very well over his years at Wake Forest. He's somebody that he's ready to come on board. Again, he gives us athleticism and speed and youth, which is something that we're looking for. Kovar is a player that loves soccer. Here's a guy who was going to Stanford, so obviously he's a pretty bright kid as well. And he shows soccer, so he's even brighter. He's a kid who just loves to play, and he wants to give it a shot now. He's left-footed. He's a wonderful crosser with the ball. He's very good on set pieces. He's technically very clean. And so for us, it's a great opportunity. And we continue to grow players in our system. Dick McCormick, Darren Sawatsky, all the guys involved with our youth academies have done a great job. And I think, next year we'll have 1 or 2 more that'll move on up.
on, Sigi. Good luck tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Kyle Beckerman.
I'm Landon Donovan.
I'm Dwayne De Rosario.
We love soccer. We train hard, we play hard, and we support with passion.
When it comes to discrimination, we don't cross the line.
No bullying, no racism, no sexism, no homophobia. No excuses, no exceptions.
Don't cross the line. If you're playing, training, supporting, or coaching, don't cross the line.